I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. Representative Nancy Mace spoke about youth mental health during a House Judiciary Committee hearing on Thursday. Mace pointed to statistics that over 1/3 of students have had worse mental health and educational outcomes since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. The South Carolina Republican also pressed the witness about the use of pronouns in schools. Take a listen to the exchange.
Chairman Raskin, and I want to thank all those the witnesses for their testimony today. We appreciate your time and effort in sharing your stories of courage, especially to the students who are here today. You guys are remarkable. This issue is really personal to me. I'm a single working mom like Ms. Gentles, and COVID-19 really hurt my kids. Virtual school really decimated our household with regards to learning. So I have a few questions today. Mr. Carver, I'll start with you. Since the start of COVID, do you know what the % of increase in mental health issues has been with our students nationwide?
I'm not aware of specific numbers, but I know that mental health issues are a problem across the board.
About 37% of students admitted that they had an increase in mental health issues. 44% said that they are persistently sad, of feelings of sadness and hopelessness. Mr. Carver, do you know roughly the percentage increase in suicides from COVID-19 when kids were out of school mostly?
I do not. I do know the percentage of suicides for trans students and LGBTQ students, which are very high. I know
What was the percentage of that?
75% of LGBTQ students say that they are consistently miserable throughout the day.
So the rate of suicides during COVID-19 increased 22% the summer of 2020 over 2019. In the winter of 2020, it was a huge increase of 39% on average. Do you know the percent increase in online bullying during COVID-19?
Not off the
With our 70%, that was a 70% increase, which coincides with the rate of suicide, as you mentioned earlier. Do you know the percent of increase, or excuse me, decrease with regards to reading levels during COVID-19 when a lot of kids were home? Do you know how bad it was, how bad it decreased?
I'm a teacher, so I'm aware of the losses we've had and the work we've had to do to make up for it.
About 30%. And then the decreases in learning math, particularly for those students who are in virtual school, was down 50% during COVID-19. My next question, Mr. Carver, do you believe that learning pronouns or learning to read is more important to kids in school?
Pronouns are a part of reading.
Which one is more important, pronouns or learning to read? Just curious. Do you believe that students should be suspended from school if they don't use the correct pronouns when they're in school?
I need more context for a given situation.
Some students recently, I think it was last week, were suspended from school, middle school students, for not using the correct pronouns. Should teachers' unions decide, in your opinion, whether schools should close or should it be up to states and school boards?
I think they should have a voice, but I don't think they should or do decide.
So teachers' unions actually during COVID-19 directed and guided the CDC on school closures rather than giving that grace to states and to school boards. They were trying to twist the arms of the CDC to make those decisions for parents, for teachers, for school boards, et cetera. Do you believe that parents have First Amendment rights? I guess, Ms. Nossel, you mentioned First Amendment in your comments earlier. Do you believe that parents have the right to the First Amendment?
All Americans have a right to the First Amendment.
So do you believe it's okay if parents show up to school board meetings to have their voices heard, especially when they disagree with school boards?
Absolutely. People have a right to have their say. If they're making threats, if they're harassing people, that's something different. But expressing your opinion vociferously, absolutely.
I wholeheartedly agree. I was reading a story, it was last year, where a parent showed up at a Loudoun County school board meeting because his daughter was sexually assaulted at school, and that father was arrested. I tell this story often. When I was 16, I was raped by a classmate of mine in high school, and when I was 17, shortly thereafter, I dropped out of school because oftentimes women who are raped are victimized and re-victimized when they come forward. In this case, it was a parent, and we want to make sure that we protect the rights of all parents to have a say in kids' schools. So I want to thank you all for your time this afternoon, and I yield back.
Thank you. The gentlelady yields back.